Hey everyone. Yeah, I thought I'd do this as a bit of a, um, I guess you could say it's a response. I guess you could say it's inspired by Playfur Cinema's, sorry about that, Playfur Cinema's Furry Girl Profiles, and we're calling it Animated Girl Profiles here. It's very similar. Probably a lot of them are going to be furry girls, be my take on them as well. So I thought, why not start with something different? Why not start with a character that that not a lot of people, well, a lot of people probably know about, but the fact that I don't think, as far as I know, unless he's planning to do it in the future, that Playfur Cinema has done yet, and that's for the first episode here, as we are in a minute in. The first character we're going to look at in this first episode might surprise you, as you see, it is, as you see here at 1 minute and 17 seconds, or around that, or a minute and 20 seconds, as you could see, it is Nicole Watterson from The Amazing World of Gumball. Now, the reason this might surprise you is because here's a show that I don't really watch at all. All I know is it's one of Cartoon Network's shows that they've had, one of their hit shows they've had over the past couple of years. And it seems that a lot of fans have taken to the show and really enjoyed it. And I can kind of see why that is. For example, it's especially when you get into the later seasons, it's got more of that kind of cartoony, almost Tiny Toon, Animaniac-like feel to it. And when one sees that, one can kind of understand why why people are fans of it. And with Nicole here is one of the main reasons. She's a main character, is in just about every mini episode, if not full episode that they have, from what I understand. And she's a bit of how do I put this? She's basically a metaphor morpher or shifter, a metaphor morpher, shapeshifter, if you will. And basically what that means is she can visually show how she feels in the show. She can visually show how she feels. And it's not just, in her mind, it's visually there and everybody experiences it. And everybody around it will experience it. And it can be funny. She can be funny. She can be really, really funny when she does this. I mean, from what I've read, just looking up information on the character and even looking up information on the show, just to kind of probably check it out down the line, she is, she's got several, I guess you could say, several morphs, shape-shifting abilities, if you will, that are really surprising. For example, in a recent episode called The Egg, when one of the neighbors that she tried to do a play date between her young daughter and their young son ended up being, kind of acted and ended and acted up, stuck up, if you will, to Nicole. She said something about Nicole just being who she really is, and Nicole's like, "Oh, you want to see who I really am?" And she ends up turning into this big red demon-like monster. And basically, she's trying to eat the neighbor, the other mom, the young boy's mom, because his mom was stuck up to her. So she, basically, you hear her say to Gumball when he tries to point out that the daughter and the son are gone. She's thinking at first that he shouldn't be surprised that this is the first time he's seen her chew anybody out. Basically, saying that that's her metaphor, going into that demon-like mode, a red demon-like mode, that's her metaphor, visual metaphor for chewing somebody out, basically getting on them for, being this way, being that way. And yeah, it's really it's really interesting to see that. It's really interesting to see that. But like I said, she has a lot of other visual metaphors, like looking up the information and everything. She can turn herself into a variety of people, or a variety of different, not things, but different metaphors and all that. Like in I don't know if it was an earlier episode, an episode in the earlier seasons, or if it was an episode recently. No one. I got to look it up again. But she basically turns herself into a version of the Terminator, and she completes this by walking like a freaking robot. And she also has the glasses, the laser eye, and all that. And she's basically using this as a metaphor, visual metaphor, to her sons. That, hey, you don't want to face the Terminator. You don't want to get me mad. You don't want to see this. And you don't really want to, piss me off. You don't want to tick me off or anything. So, yeah. That's basically what she does in that episode. She turns into a freaking Terminator towards the end. She basically, as the saying goes, she morphs into the Terminator. Into a Terminator-like creature. So, but yeah, she turns herself into, hold on for a sec. She turns herself, like I said, into a version of the Terminator, and into a version of the Terminator that, again, like I said, basically intimidates the kids not to procrastinate and take out the garbage and stuff like that. So it's really cool. It's really cool to kind of see that. But again, it's not just the only thing she does. She can also turn herself into sort of a uncontrollable monster mom, if you will. There's a mini episode where they go to the store, and I think the episode's called The Limit, and she basically finally lets them know that she's reached her limit. She turns into this monster-like character, yellow eyes, yellow slit eyes, claws get longer and everything. She's just going crazy. Nobody could stop her until she finally looks into a reflection of herself. Just as she's about to attack her family, she sees a reflection of herself, and she changes back and realizes, oops, I messed up. I shouldn't have let my emotions get the best of me. But overall, Nicole Watterson, from what I've seen, from what I've seen just by clips and from what I've read, is a very loving character to her family, to her kids, to her husband. And yeah, she is one of those attractive, as some fans would put it, hot, attractive animated characters in recent years. Then when you see who she's married to, you're like, well, why is she married to this dingle dork? Or why is she married to this dingle doofus, And this is what's caused a lot of fans, well, not a lot of fans, but have caused some fans to make up some incense fan fiction story, mature fan fiction story of incense between her and Gumball, because I guess they pretty much feel her and Gumball are a better match. And again, when they look at her with her husband, it's like, really, what was the point of putting these two together? This doesn't make any sense. I mean, yes, we kind of get it. She's the foundation. She's there to, keep them in check. We get that. But again, it's like, what was the point? What's the point of always doing this? It basically brings up that question again that a lot of people have of, what does this attractive girl see in this doofus of a guy? Doesn't make any sense. So, but yeah, she, again, very protective of her family, but like as we've seen in some episodes, she does have her limits. to the point that, like I said, in the limit episode, she'll turn into a monster. She could only take so much from somebody insulting her. She'll turn into a demon-like character. I mean, she just has so many visual metaphors for how she feels, or how she'll feel, or how she'll react if something's not done right or correctly or whatever. And the family, I like this about her family. They're aware of it. They're like, okay, you don't want to see this side of our mom. It's like, you don't want to see this side of her, so let's just do this. Now, sometimes they do, like Gumball. At times, we'll probably shrug it off and think she won't act like that, and but yet she would. She really would. Now, another thing that kind of got me interested in looking at this character and looking at the show is recently I've been Googling some information. I've been Googling basically what kind of like melting situations, like melting into puddles and all that, are in some of the recent shows, and I've seen some results be promising, some not. I've seen Adventure Time has it with Princess Bubblegum, even though it's a wax figure of her in her place. I think, I don't know if it's in Steven Universe or not. I haven't seen anything, but I'm pretty sure there's something there. All sorts of things. All sorts of things are there. Not all sorts of things, but I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's there. I've looked up Gravity Falls, not much there. I've looked up some other information, so there are some other things, like this, that, what is it, what is the cartoon? It's a cartoon out of Canada, I believe, about kids attending a superhero school. Let me see if I can look it up. About some kids attending a superhero school. And there's an episode, basically, where one of the main female characters melts into a puddle. Not completely, but she does. Hold on for a second. Sorry about that phone call there. But anyway, like I said, she cares very much for her family and all that, and it shows. But like I said, she's got all these visual metaphors, the ones that I mentioned, and even more that I can't. Like, she can have, her eyes could go into flames and have flames in the background and stuff like that. So, but like I was saying, I think, what I was saying is that I was online, I was Googling, trying to find out any recent show or current show that might have the melting trope in there, either lustful melt trope or just a regular melting into a puddle trope. And I looked in for Adventure Time. They sort of had it with Princess Bubblegum, but it was a wax figure, a fake kind of in her place in an episode. I tried looking it up for Steven Universe. Nothing. I'm not really sure, but I think it might be in there somewhere, but got to take a closer examination of that. Gravity Falls didn't really have much. I just looked around, and I decided, what other shows does Cartoon Network have? And I realized, oh, wait a minute, they have Gumball. So I put that in, and lo and behold, it came up, but what came up was Nicole along with it. And I'm thinking, Nicole? So I looked, and I said, oh, yeah, it's the mother character. It's the mom character from the show. So I was thinking, wait a minute, she's got the lustful milk gag? Or she's got the melting trope happening to her? So I looked online, I looked up some episodes, and saw that towards the end of the job mini episode, where she's trying to get the pizza owner or the pizza boss to fire her husband, because apparently her husband getting the job has thrown the universe off whack. As she's trying to drag the pizza guy over to fire her husband, another warp, I guess it's some kind of warp or wave, goes through them again, and she gets hit by it, and she ends up melting into a puddle of blue goo. Ooh, that's kind of slowly spreading and getting larger, Arja, as you see her in that form, a few seconds later, but she ends up melting into a puddle of goo, which kind of shocks everybody. But she tells him, "I'm all right, I guess." But and then the next time is at the end of the Authority mini episode. These are both within season 3. After she finally proves herself to her husband's mom, and her husband's mom apologizes for doubting her, she says, basically she accepts the apology and says it's all right, that we all learned from our mistakes, and basically she accepts the apology, and then she asks the grandma, or the Granny JoJo, that's what her name is, to excuse her while she passes out along with her family, because the family was already passed out in the car. So she asked them, hey, she basically, long story short, she excuses herself to pass out with her family, and she passes out by falling face first onto the hood of the car, and then slumping down, kind of doing a lump, kind of melting down the rest of the way into what is a lumpy kind of puddle. Not completely liquefied or anything, but kind of a lumpy, creamy like puddle. And you kind of hear the melting sound with it, so you kind of get the indication that her passing out was her melting into a puddle. So, long story short, though, long, hopefully not long video short here. She has definitely, to me, just by looking up the information I did, is definitely a character that, if you wanted to put a CAW character, a CWA Diva character into the new WWE 2K16 or even your current 2K14 or whatever, that she's the kind of character you could do. She'd be perfect. Apparently she's very acrobatic, very martial arts like. And again, she's one of those characters, one of those, as they would say, hot mom characters. You think, well, wait a minute. When you look at her, you're like, wait a minute. She looks young. Like, if you want to age Gumball by just a few years, it'd be, there you go, match made in heaven. But it's like, she is young. And again, that's the entire situation about this trope. It's the fact that with her being young, it gets people talking. And again, from a mature adult standpoint, for those that actually watch, for those older viewers that watch the show, from their standpoint, there will be people that will, from an incense kind of way, ship both her and her son Gumball together, because it's like it's a perfect match in their opinion. But overall, Nicole Watterson is definitely a character to watch, and that's all I'm going to say for this hopefully new series in response and inspired by the Furry Girl Profiles at Playfur Cinema, called Animated Girl Profiles. Let me know what you guys think down below. And Playfur Cinema, I'm not challenging, but I'm suggesting maybe for you, your next Furry Girl Profile, to look at Nicole Watterson. So that's all I'm going to say, folks, and I'm out. Comment below.